This video I'm going to tell you everything that I wish I knew when I first started the gym, and if I could go back in time and talk to little 14-year-old me, this is everything I would say. 2026 is all about leveling up our fitness game. I am a certified gym girl and a holistic health coach. I use fitness as a means to improve women's confidence, self-esteem and overall quality of life. As it's the start of 2026 and everybody's started their gym journeys, I thought I could give you my best tips as somebody who has been training since the age of 14. Everything that I learnt the hard way, wish I knew sooner and wish somebody had told me. I loved me at the age of 14, having no idea what she was doing but turning up to the gym regardless. This was when I first started the gym and attempted to make it a lifestyle. At the time it was because I was dancing competitively and I needed to improve my fitness in order to compete. So your girl started going to the gym, but then we got obsessed and it became our life, and here we are. I'm going to start by saying the most controversial but the most important part of the video, and that is you do not need to know what you're doing. You do not need to have a plan or a structure to go to the gym, and a lot of people might argue with that, but I promise you the habit of going to the gym is just as important as actually knowing what to do in the gym, because no matter how much you might know what you're doing, if you physically cannot get yourself up and out of the house and to the gym environment, you're going to see no progress really. When I first started the gym, I had absolutely zero experience in a gym environment. I was in like youth gym, which is like the child's version, so I was limited with the equipment I could use, the hours I could go, but I would go after school, mainly just sit in the corner, get a mat, do some ab movements and do some like donkey kicks or something, or I would just go on the treadmill. But essentially no matter what I was doing, it was never actually effective. But what was really important and got me probably through the first at least year of my gym journey was the fact that I actually enjoyed what I was doing. It might not have been effective, but I enjoyed it and it would make me go. And the more I would go, the more consistent you are. And the more consistent you are at something, the easier it is to adapt to the routine. So it wasn't then about being motivated and forcing myself to go to the gym, but rather now that it was like second nature to go to the gym 3 times a week, I could then just change what I was doing when I'd get there, and that was a lot easier. Get yourself comfortable and make it an enjoyable process of actually getting yourself to the gym. You can figure out what to do later. Another reason I'm making this video is because I want to prevent you guys making as many mistakes as I did. I learned a lot of things the hard way. I didn't have a coach or a PT. I didn't have any friends or anybody that was into the gym. Experiment, if I want to call it that. But there are some really important things I have learned along the way, and these are things that I pass on to my clients and to you guys. Let's just start. Step number 1, start with a warm-up. This is going to be like a basic skeleton for you to copy and like tweak to your own enjoyment. You want to start with a warm-up, which is going to be 5 or 10 minutes, you can choose, and this is going to be on any cardio of your choice. The treadmill, you've got cross trainers, you've got rowers, skiers, but ultimately you're going to try a few, see your favorite, and you're going to use that as a warm-up on a consistent basis. Then gonna do some stretching, because hot girls do not miss their stretching, and you know what happens if you miss your stretching? You get injured and you end up having the back of an 80-year-old. And did I stretch? Did I fuck? No, I didn't. I have a lot of stretching and mobility routines on my social media if you are looking for some inspiration. Then gonna go into some resistance machines. So you want an 80-20 ratio split of resistance, strength, weight training to cardio. So the majority of your sessions should be using weights, whether that's machines, free weights, dumbbells. I would always tell you to start with machines because they're the safest and they're the easiest to not get wrong. Also, remember that this is going to vary dependent on your goals. This is just a very, very generalized approach to anybody, I would say, who wants to start going to the gym, changing their appearance and getting fitter. If you are looking for some more detail specifically on your goal, whether that's losing weight, building muscle, I'd make a completely different video on that specifically. And if you would like a much more tailored approach to your specific goals, you can use the link in the description to book a free call with me and we can chat a little bit further. Okay, moving on. Number 2. If you want to tone your body, strengthening, 2 main things that nobody does and nobody talks about. One of them is your core and one of them is your grip. Your core and your grip are going to be the two things that inhibit your growth throughout your weight training. These essentially are what hold your body together. So if these are weak, it's going to be very difficult for you to generally build strength and see progress. Same goes for your joints. If you're not looking after your joints, you don't have to have dodgy knees or a painful lower back for you to be doing mobility. You should still be incorporating it in that as a form of prevention. And this is what I call prehab, as opposed to rehab once you've been injured. This is prehab, which is the prevention of injury. And everybody should be doing that in 2026. So if you are not, then you need to start doing that now. If you can be asked to have a skincare every single day, then you should also be asked to have a joint care routine. Some core strength work and some grip strength work are both also going to help you so much, and they are definitely things I did not do. Third point, which is absolutely key and I was absolutely horrific for, was mastering your range of motion. So essentially how well you can perform a movement. And this is so much more important than the weight you're actually lifting. If you care about what you're lifting more than how you're lifting it, it's because you're living through your ego, and we need to stop doing that because you're going to get injured, sis. You're going to get really, really, really injured. So master your form, then add the weight. I was really bad for this because I was under the assumption that because I had now been going to the gym for like 6 months at this point, I should naturally be able to lift a lot heavier. Bearing in mind, I had never been to a gym prior to that, and a lot of these movements were so foreign to me. I was young, so my body was still very fragile. My bones hadn't even fully developed. I was literally 14. I started upping the weight, not because I felt like I could, but because I felt like I should, and there's a huge difference in that. A really good example was when I started doing RDLs, known as Romanian deadlifts, and this is a form of leg movement which focuses on your glutes and your hamstrings to try and help you build your glutes, which was my main focus at the time. But now as a coach, I would argue one of the hardest movements to teach somebody because it is so techy that it takes practice and time. And I did not care about that. I just wanted to lift more weight because I wanted a fat ass. All times I would be upping the dumbbells and I would be doing them and my back would be hurting, like consciously hurting. And on numerous occasions I thought it was my form that was wrong, but I was just lifting too much. I just couldn't lift that much at that point, so other muscles started compensating. It wasn't engaging my core because what's core engagement? Which was another reason my back would take the load, because I wasn't bracing. So looking back, there were so many very obvious errors, but at the time I had no idea, and in my head it was, I can't drop this weight and go lower because that's shameful. I have to just stick to the same weight until it doesn't hurt, which didn't work out very well for me. So best advice I can give you when training is really slow down the movement, focus on control, focus on feeling it in the muscles you're working, rather than just trying to rush it and get through the reps. Off the back of that, exercise selection is everything. The actual movements that you're doing is so much more important than just doing movements, especially if you are trying to lose weight, build muscle, change your physical appearance. Tip number 4. Most important, I know I said number 1 was, but I actually think this is. The reason this is so important is because if you don't master this, then you will never go back to the gym. This really is just something that is make or break. It's something I've helped a lot of women overcome, including myself. That is gym anxiety. So common, like crazy common. I promise you, somebody who practically lives in the gym all day, every day, because I work from there, I train there, most of the people in my life are from there. I've spoken to hundreds of members, and I can promise you that nobody is judging you, nobody is watching you, nobody is competing with you. Nobody cares what you're doing. I can promise you that 99% of the people in the gym are actually so sweet, and they're all there for the same reason. You're all there to try and better yourself, regardless of your goal, your experience, what you look like. Everybody has their own insecurities, and everybody probably thinks the same thing that you're thinking, which I feel like I'm being judged. Why is that person staring at me? You'd be surprised how many people are insecure. Even if they look like they know what they're doing, it doesn't necessarily mean that they feel that way. So maybe the person who you feel is staring at you is actually admiring you and wishes that they could look like you, or they're trying to see what you're doing so that they can also do it, but they're too afraid to ask. There are so many perspectives that you can spin it, but the quicker you get out of your own head and feel like public enemy number one in the gym, the quicker you're going to be able to go back to the gym, because you're going to enjoy being there. And that was crucial for me. Was I loved being in the gym. Like, I loved the people who worked there. I was really good friends with the PTs at the time. We had such a nice little community. I ended up meeting one of my bestest friends in there. Literally going there was more of a social aspect than it was a fitness aspect, but again, it kept me crazy consistent because I'd want to go. That was a really big milestone for me, was making it in a comfortable environment that I liked being in. Comfortable in the environment, you're much more likely to return, and your gym anxiety will reduce because you're less bothered, because you're more distracted by the people you're around. So if you can bring a friend, or you can start talking to some of the people in the gym that you recognize, strike up a conversation with them, or even just ask them to help you and explain your situation, you'd be surprised how many people that you will build a connection with and become friends with. That being said, if you do feel like you're a little bit socially awkward and you do not feel as though you could go up to somebody and ask that or start that, and what I would say to you instead is just practice having a little bit more open body language. Chest out, shoulders back, arms out, making eye contact, smiling at people, going over and saying how many sets have you got left. When I started the gym, I was very much independent. Like I said, I'd use a few random machines or the treadmill or go into the corner on a mat. I did end up talking to the gym managers and PTs a lot, like even originally. Which was good because they would just give me little bits of advice here and there, and they'd entice me to do the gym challenge of the month, and even small things like that was really nice because it made me feel that bit more comfortable when I'd see that familiar face in the gym. I am planning to do an entire series on gym anxiety because it is something that I think holds so many women back. Is primarily what my coaching is on. My coaching is very much on confidence, both mentally and physically, and a huge part of lacking confidence is down to having gym anxiety. Yeah, I would like to make some videos on that and talk about the ways that I've got over it and good tips for you guys. And again, if gym anxiety is something you really do struggle with, then it's something you would like to talk to me about, again, use the same link in my description, book in a call with me and we can sit and have a chat and I can see if I can help you. Okay, the final tip I'm going to give you today, because I was impatient as fuck. I was a victim of too much consuming. Still kind of am. And this is simply trust the process. And you might hear this a lot. This isn't a journey you can rush. There are no shortcuts. And part of your gym transformation, even when it is physically, it's also mentally, and that is usually the thing that changes first. So if you try to rush the process and skip parts and shortcut, you're going to get to where you want to be, but you're not going to feel like you've got there, and you're still not going to be happy. It takes time, it takes commitment, resilience, and it takes a lot of trust. Trust in yourself that you're going to get to where you want to, and that all of your hard work is going to pay off. I would argue out of everything that's changed the most in 7 years, and as much as my body has changed, I honestly think it's what's up here that has changed the most. And I can't even put into words how much the way I think about things have changed, and my perspective of myself, of the people around me, and the way you think imprints onto your reality. People that are attracted to you, the opportunities that are presented to you, your entire reality shifts when your mindset does, and the gym transforms your mindset. I think social media is one of the worst things for instant gratification. Everything's happening now. You see the girls with the dream physiques living the perfect life, and because they only show you where they are now, you think that they haven't gone through all the hardships and the process that you're now going through. You cannot compare your day one to somebody else's chapter 50, and something I did so much. There are so many women in their mid-20s, and this was when I was like a teenager, that I'd been comparing myself to, and I would think I'm not as good as them, and I'd get really frustrated. I was trying to rush the process. I got into a really bad relationship with my food and with exercise, especially during lockdown. You know, I was trying to do like 3 workouts a day and eat like 1 meal a day. I now know that's because it doesn't work like that, but it was mainly because of the relationship I built around fitness, and I just wanted it to be now because all of these people I was looking at had it now. And again, I feel as though now, if you were to go onto my social media and you see how I train and how I look, you might think the same thing. But I can promise you, sitting here right now, that has taken me 7 years and a lot of fucking lessons to get to where I now am. So please do not go onto my social media or anybody else's and start to compare yourself, because it's not comparable. You're in two completely different places. So basically, the key takeaway from that point is limit how much you consume on social media. If it's making you feel a type of way, remove them, cut it out. Do not keep consuming it. Tunnel your vision, focus on your goal and what is in your control, and just keep moving forward with it. So we're gonna leave it there for today. These are some of the biggest mistakes that I made growing up in the gym. I am grateful happened, because I can now share them with you and I can now make sure that it never happens again. So now I'm hoping you don't have to make those mistakes, because I did. I'd be so grateful for your support. Like, comment, subscribe, join the community of women who are determined to make this year their best, including me. Anything else you'd like to see, please let me know too. In my next video of the 2026 Launchpad series, I'm going to be sharing with you one of the biggest things I'm bringing into 2026 that is going to transform my year and my entire life. So I highly recommend you checking that out too. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.